All right, greetings, Stars fans. Welcome to the Two Brothers Mic'd Up Show. This is game 20 of the Dallas Stars 2015 season. Stars win 3-2 over the Washington Capitals. Stars are now 16-4 on the season, as we hear every single game now that they are off to the best franchise start ever. This is the best this team has ever been, even going back to the Minnesota North Star days. As always, we start off a video with past predictions from the last video. Quinn, you said if the Stars were to come on top, it was going to be a score of 4-3. You said if Washington was going to come out top, it was going to be a score of 5-2. Pretty much you were saying it'd be a pretty good offensive-based game for Washington if they were coming out. I said the score for the Stars, if they were to come on top, it would be a score of 4-2. And then if Washington was going to come on top, it was going to be 4-0. I really like the Washington Capitals and how they play, especially with Ovechkin. If you have Ovechkin on your team, you are pretty much not guaranteed to win. I was checking on hockeyreference.com. They usually put out predictions for like percentage of a team that's going to win, and they had Washington at I think it was like a 57% chance of winning. Obviously, they have egg on their face now with Dallas coming away with the win. But let's start off with what is now becoming a common mainstay with these discussions. It's on the very first goal. It comes pretty quick in the first period. Tyler Seguin's first goal of the game, and it comes off of pretty much a 4-on-2 or a 4-on-1? How it essentially broke down. I think it was a 4-on-1. Yeah, how it essentially broke down was we had a crazy flip pass from Goligoski all the way out to Jamie Benn. He makes a great play at the blue line, spots Klingberg coming, and then Klingberg spots Seguin coming up the slot, like a good scorer should always be doing, is coming through the slot. And
yeah, it was good. Good eye work out there to spot Seguin coming down to the slot. It just shows how good that Klingberg's actually starting to come into his own.
It's really a testament to how his vision is getting better. Like he's looking around, he's seeing things that, as of right now, I don't think any defenseman has better sight than Klingberg at the moment. He's keeping his head on a swivel. It's a real big testament to how much he's really growing. But with the goal comes controversy. You had Patrick Sharp go to the front of the net, and he gets right in the grill of Grubauer. I think he was in like millimeters of the Washington's goalie. But when you look at that replay, not anywhere to where it would cause an infraction. The coach's challenge, The coach's challenge comes because I guess from the bench, you can't really tell if he's in the crease or if he's on the goalie or not. But Patrick Sharp played it. I think, yeah, you can't play that any better, because if he were to go back any more, that would be goalie interference. But we also saw Washington's goalie be a little cheeky. He actually came out to the top of his crease, and he pretty much like sticks his face in Patrick Sharp's back to try to really grab a goalie interference call. This game is all about the little plays that you can do to give your team the advantage, no matter what. I mean, this is a game that you're trying to win. Every team is trying to win. Every player is trying to win, and those little things separate wins and losses when you add them all up. And
Yeah,
so
it's like Sharp did his best I'm not doing anything impression.
exactly. And with those little plays, they either go your way or they don't. This way it didn't, but I thought it was a great no call from the refs, and I truly thought the goal needed to stand. But I remember talking to you whenever we first got that on, first watching that replay. I was more interested in this coach's challenge than pretty much any other coach's challenge that we've seen, because I think this one, before seeing that replay, could have been a 50-50 chance. You know, like we said in like past videos, it is to the discretion of the refs to determine what's good and what's bad. That's the human element of the game. That's what needs to stay in the game. And right now, I am still for Coach's Challenge. 2 thumbs up. Even though it's starting to go a lot more in the Stars way. Some people might say that's the Homer opinion of me, but you know what? Whatever. I don't care. It's good. It's good for the game.
It's okay. Everybody's gonna love Coach's Challenges when they're for their team, but when they get away from their team, everyone's gonna hate it. So
Yeah, exactly.
there's no real middle ground in it.
Now, let's go to the Capitals' first goal. What did you see from the Capitals' first goal? That would be was it Backstrom's goal? It was Backstrom's goal.
Yeah, it was Backstrom's goal off of Jordy Bin.
Right. How did you feel about that goal and the defensive positioning that we were having?
Well, Washington came out and used their physicality to back the Stars up into a defensive hole that they just couldn't get out of. So when the Stars started panicking, you know, Washington took advantage, out of position, and they get a good bounce and it goes in.
Yeah. Like you were saying, this was not a pretty game. You sit there and you watch this whole game, and quite frankly, I'm surprised the Stars won. Not on the sheer fact because we're just an awesome team and we should be winning every game, but we got outplayed in this game. Washington severely outplayed. Well, severely might be strong. I think Washington did outplay. They definitely out-hit Dallas. They have a 25-1 or a 25-11 shot differential or hit differential, and it showed in that game. That really turned into what was going to be the sloppy play from the Stars. The Stars were only credited with 8 giveaways or 5 giveaways, but you know, Washington was granted 9 takeaways. So Washington was really taking it to Dallas. I thought the up-tempo pace to this game was really good for the Stars. Unlike the Buffalo game, you just didn't see that halting. I mean, every team just wanted to go out and compete in this game, and that's what Dallas loves. And you know, from what I've seen out of Washington, they are strong and they are fast. But we also see that when the Stars, through the most part, a couple of games against Toronto and Winnipeg, and the Minnesota game, I felt could have gone either way. But when the Stars are really hit with that strong physical game, they're either going to respond one of 2 ways. They either get bogged down and they start rushing and hurrying and everything, or they rise against the occasion and really use their skill and speed to set them apart. Now, overall from this game, you saw a lot of sloppy play. They were really rushed. I mean, what were you seeing from the Stars through most of the game?
Mainly that second period, like everything that they were trying to do was just not working for them. It seems like they rushed everything too fast, they never really got into the positioning that they wanted, and that hurt them.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the Buffalo game, to where you could really see when the Stars are getting rushed and hurried, they're not taking their time to understand where their players are on the ice. They just dump pucks off. They try to get rid of the problem without really seeing a solution. Now that's something. Now, when you go and watch a lot of post-game interviews, you see a lot of the Stars, especially you'll see Klingberg say, "We still have not played a full 60 minutes," and it still goes to this game. Even though they are winning their games and they've won 4 straight now, they're still not playing a full 60. So, what kind of advice or what kind of solutions would you think could really help the Stars out at this point into the season? Because it's not early on in the season. I mean, this was the 20th game, and pretty much a quarter of the season is gone. How do you think the Stars need to start getting into a full 60?
They need to start calming down with the puck. They need to start playing smart hockey, make those passes count, take the extra second, and just settle the puck down. Let the play come to them.
Exactly. And I think that's a great point whenever you say let the puck come to them, because in these wins, the wins that, let's face it, last season, these games are losses. When we really think about it, these games are losses, and it seems like the puck is really finding our players. I think it goes into when we have the puck and we're actually playing our style of hockey. Again, you see Klingberg on the point and makes just a smart play to get the puck on net, not trying to shoot it past the net or really doing anything else with the puck, but he shoots it on net, and then boom, Cody Eakin gets a tip for the score to be 2-1. I mean, it really, it's not any simpler than that. But then it always seemed that whenever the Stars got up, the Capitals had an answer. But that goes to a lot of the fact that the Capitals were really having the majority of the chances throughout the whole game. You know, they had a couple of posts. Ovechkin was all over the place. That guy was like a bull in a china shop. And speaking of Ovechkin, you know, Eakin gets that tip goal, and then shortly after, we lose defensive coverage, and Ovechkin and Backstrom, the pair that is right behind Jamie and Tyler for the most points in the NHL between a center and a winger. I mean, you have Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin, number 1. Number 2 is Ovechkin and Backstrom. And how those two are left to just get behind our defense, I really don't understand that. This goal...
I mean, you also have to credit Backstrom. Like, he made a beautiful through-the-legs pass to set up Ovechkin perfectly. Well, and that goal doesn't happen without Backstrom's good play.
That's true. But a common factor that we had in this game, who do you think was the weakest defenseman that we had in this game?
Fate would say that I would think it's Jamie Benn or Jordy Benn, but I still think it was Yoki Paka this game.
Really?
You know, Jordy just got a couple bad breaks on him. But I still feel like Yoki Paka got out-muscled a lot more on the puck. And, you know, Jordy Benn just happens to be that defenseman that gets caught in the bad spot covering 2 people.
I mean, I guess I would kind of disagree. I mean, granted, the third pair has been the worst pair so far. I honestly think, besides Klingberg, I mean, Demers has been our second best defenseman. I feel.
I would 100% agree with that.
I think Demers has played great. He's playing pretty much over his potential of what I really think that he should be playing as. But I don't know. I just look at Jordy Ben and it just feels like maybe he's the one that needs to sit out a game or two and let Alexiak or Nemeth come in and play with Yoki Paka. Let's see how that goes, because it seems like the hockey gods right now, they don't like Jordy. So it really seems like, why not, just because his jersey has the name Ben on it, I don't think that he should be given any kind of special treatment. So I think the next time that Alexiak or Nemeth need to break into the roster because maybe someone's tired or something like that, I honestly think Jordy needs to sit for a game or two to really kind of work on his game. I mean, I think he's on the ice a lot for a lot of bad goals. But, I mean, we're still winning, so it's still hard to say, okay, well, he's the ultimate to blame. But let's get into a little later. Well, let's go back and talk about Ovechkin. How do you... He's been in the league for 10 seasons now. What do you think his impact to the game is right now?
Oh, he's a great impact on the game. It's like he sets the bar for the Russian players coming in and the ones that are still in. And as you saw, he's now the highest goal getter for any Russian-born player in the NHL.
With 484 goals. I mean,
and that's crazy because it took Fedorov like 20 seasons, maybe a little less than that, to get 483.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Ovechkin 10 seasons to get that number.
Ovechkin is the greatest goal scorer of our generation. Ovechkin is our Gretzky when we think about it. Now, Gretzky is known for being an all-around playmaker, but Gretzky has the record for the most goals in the NHL. When Sidney Crosby and Ovechkin first broke into the NHL, it was like, okay, who is better? And as of right now, I mean, when Sidney won the Stanley Cup, I think it was a no-brainer that Sidney Crosby was better. But now that seasons have passed and we're to the present now, has it swayed in Ovechkin's favor, do you think?
Oh, definitely. I've always thought Ovechkin was the better player out of the two of them. Ovechkin plays a more all-around game. He hits, he plays defense. Not saying Crosby doesn't do all those things, but Ovechkin really makes it his. That's a part of his game. When Crosby goes out and does it, it's because, he has to do it so he can get his team fired up. Ovechkin does it naturally.
Yeah. I would agree that the tide has swayed into Ovechkin's favor, especially this season with how bad Crosby has come out of the gate. It is a damn shame that Ovechkin does not have a Stanley Cup, because if you're the only thing, well, I guess Sidney Crosby has a couple of gold medals as well, so that helps in his favor. But when we're judging them on as an individual, I think Ovechkin is by far the better player. Now, when you're putting him with a team, do you still think Ovechkin is better, or do you think Crosby has that advantage in a team atmosphere? Granted, hockey is a team game, but we were judging them on individual skill. Do you think Crosby is better with the team that's around him?
No, I think Crosby is the better team player. I think Ovechkin, I mean, granted he has Backstrom and Oshie with him now, but I feel that if he was on a more highly regarded team, he would be even better.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think the tide has swayed into Ovechkin's favor, and if Ovechkin were to have a Stanley Cup, I think it would be a no-brainer as to who is actually the better of the two, since those two have been pretty much linked together since they both came into the NHL. But you're always going to get those people that, not trophy whore, but to like committees and everything like that, championships matter. And not saying that championships don't matter, but in this aspect, I would think, I would give it to Ovechkin as well. Getting on with the game, we see Jason Spezza right there in the front of the net, and Spezza is known for his hands. He's got good hand-eye coordination. Sometimes his hands are moving faster than his brain. We've seen that in a couple of games, especially when he's trying to get into the zone or he's taking it up all by himself. But he makes a great catch pass from Chimera right there out in front of the net. I don't know what Chimera was trying to do with that pass. It was a little rinky-dink pass, but he catches it out of air, and as soon as it hits the net, or as soon as it hits the ground, it is in the back of the net. So, Spezza has goals in 3 games straight now, and he looks like he's, really getting into his form. I think this is the Spezza that, we really wanted to see. Last year's Spezza was, he was pretty good. I mean, he had a ton of points. Most of them were assists, and I think Spezza is usually known for an assist kind of guy because of his hands. But, he's getting goals. He's contributing where we really need him to. That's in-depth scoring. So, let's also touch on Kari's game as well. Now, Niemi played pretty good against Buffalo. Did you think that Niemi deserved the start to, kind of ride him out? Or did you think it was fair to bring Kari into this game?
I think it was fair to bring Kari into this game. It looked kind of like Niemi was a little shaky on there. But, Kari's been, letting in, 1 goal a game in his last couple starts.
I think it's a little more than that,
average, or a little bit over than that. And it's just good to see that no matter who starts, they're both going to play top form.
Now, do you think the coaching now is thinking, okay, if we're going up against a powerhouse team like Washington, Kari needs to be in net now? Now, Kari is 9-1 on the season. He's obviously the better goaltender right now. So are you thinking that that's what coaching is now doing? Let Niemi come in against the games against, I don't want to say lesser teams, but the Buffaloes and the Floridas and the Torontos, even though he didn't do very well against Toronto.
I don't think so.
You just think it's kind of a luck of the draw?
They looked at the stats of Kari against Washington, and he probably had higher. I mean, because he was 6-0 against Washington.
Yeah, I mean, he has
the last couple of seasons.
He hasn't lost against Washington in the past. Well, now 7 games. But
yeah, so why not start him?
Yeah, I guess I could see your point on that as well. I mean, he's been hot against Washington, so let him start. What rating would you give this game?
I'd say probably a B-.
Ooh. Why the minus?
Second period was awful. Positioning was awful at some times, but the Stars, they fight back. They start turning things around in the third period, and they get the goal, and then they bucker down, and they get the win.
Interesting. I gave a rating of a B. I also didn't like a lot of the sloppy play. The only reason why we win this game was on the back of Kari. He made some great saves at opportune times that needed to be saved. So without Kari, I don't think the Stars would have won this game. Stars, game 21 on Saturday, play the Buffalo Sabres again. This will be the end of the season series. What are your predictions for that?
I think Dallas is going to know that Buffalo's going to want to come in, set the pace early. They're going to be hitting, so I hope Dallas takes that into consideration, learns from what mistakes they made the last game, and they put that into practice, and they come out and get the win. I'd say probably 3-2 if Dallas comes on top, and if Buffalo comes on top, I really think Eichel's going to have a showing in that game if Buffalo starts getting the upper hand, so I think he's going to contribute a lot to make it 4-3.
Oh, 4-3. So you think it's going to be a close game either way?
Yeah.
Interesting. I think Dallas will have learned from the last game that they played against the Sabres. So I'm actually going to say they clean up their game a lot more. And I'm going to say the Stars win 3-0 if they come on top. But if Buffalo is to come through, I also think Jack Eichel might have a showing here because he was pretty good in the last game. But I think they're going to have to get good goaltending as well. And we're probably not going to see their backup. So I'm going to say a score of 3-2 if Buffalo comes on top. So that's the discussion for Game 20 against the Washington Capitals. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe, share anywhere you would like. Tell us what you didn't like. Tell us what you did like. Any feedback helps tremendously. Remember, this is a video discussion for fans by fans. And as always, tune in next time.